What's going on, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Expected Bets for your go-to podcast for all things hockey betting. I'm Gator Betting, and as always, joined by my two co-hosts, Franco the Banker and Gretzky Betskis. Guys, it feels like we just ran a marathon with that frozen frenzy that just happened. Thank God that's done. I don't know. It seems a lot of weird games. I'll start there. A lot of weird games. We can go into that in a second. But Betsky, how did we do last night? It feels like it was just full of traps everywhere.
Yeah. No, not the best. I wish I went hard on that New Jersey-Tampa game. The Utah hockey clubbers getting shut out really burned. 1-0 Detroit versus Islanders game was weird. Toronto-Columbus game went totally sideways. And I guess if you wanted to fade Toronto, there was a lot pointing in that direction after coming off that big win against Tampa. But honestly, the way they controlled the Tampa game, it seemed like they were going to kind of keep that momentum going and just punish what should have been an easier opponent. So I wasn't too concerned with them at least being able to get a couple goals.
More than two.
Yeah. And I mean, it got out of hand quick for them too. And they still, I think they ended the second period and we're still only at like 10 shots or something.
Yeah. They went out partying. They went out partying the night
They
after.
Absolutely did. And I wish I was
Stanley Cup win.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it. We said that there was like a potential for a letdown spot there. It was just, it's hard to back Columbus in general. Like you got what's his name? Tarasov in net. And then, they're missing pieces too. Kent Johnson was out. And it's like, do you really want to back Columbus? It's tough.
Yeah, and it's not like this was a team that Toronto sees twice a year because they're a bad Western team, it's a team they play against several times a year and have unbelievable history against this team. Yep. I mean, Matthews' domination of this team is insane. So I figured Matthews could probably close his eyes and score two.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, what was it, like 10 goals in 7 games or something ridiculous for Matthews against them? Like, it's just, it's hard to get across the line with bets like that on such a big slate too. Like taking Columbus money line was not something I was like, I'll just let that one go. But in hindsight, it felt pretty easy. That and Tampa money line too.
I know,
like coming in getting revenge after having that terrible letdown performance against Toronto. So I think we need to start looking at those spots and feeling at least a little bit more confident, even with Jonas Johansson in that.
Well, and that tonight answered some questions too. So if you were concerned of what type of team Tampa is after that game against Toronto, and I think that got answered. I mean, they look like they're going to be making a big push this season. They look arguably better than last year, even though they lost Stamkos. So I'm not concerned about the leadership in that room now. I'm not concerned about them, slumping after a bad loss. If they're playing another top team, I feel a lot more confident to start backing them in back-to-back situations and situations where they're coming off a bad loss,
Yeah. I mean, some other notable games. San Jose, I think, remains winless. They have yet to win a game this season. Winnipeg stays undefeated. Nashville gets their first win of the season. That was the biggest trap game on the board right there. Nashville being favorite at home.
What about Minnesota, Florida? That was another trap one.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, with Buffalo, coming
Dallas.
Back.
Yep. Bob on his 399th win. Buffalo, Dallas. That one I actually, the more I thought about it and the more the day went by, I was like, I think Buffalo's going to take this.
Said no one.
I was going to say, I had no faith in this team
Dallas
at all.
Is coming off a big win. They started off the season really well. That was a prime trap.
Yeah.
Just like the Minnesota one.
Yeah.
And of course, Kaprizov doesn't shoot.
No.
He goes into playmaker mode. And so you better get the right types of props for him.
Yeah. In the Rangers, I think handling Montreal that easily was also kind of another shock as well. It feels like this team this season is really on a mission. I mean, we say that every year of they're great during the regular season, but can they get it done in the playoffs? We don't know, obviously, but it feels like this team is really trying to kind of put their stamp on the season early and often. So
yes,
we'll see what happens with them.
2 weeks into the season, I'm ready to say that they are the best looking team in the league right now. Obviously, that can change, but right now, I don't think there's anybody that like comes close to how good they look. I guess maybe you could make the argument for the Jets, but I don't know.
We still have to have our
Rangers
reservations
look
with
very
the Jets.
complete. What?
Yeah,
we still have to have our reservations with the Jets because we know what they can do. Their offense can go like kind of flat. It feels like the Rangers have a lot more depth overall to mask that if somebody goes cold.
Yeah,
but we've seen the Rangers have issues too with not getting all kind of their top guys not playing well in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they've been scoring without the power play, too. I mean, I know they had 2 power play goals yesterday, but they scored 7 freaking goals, so it's like, who cares?
Yeah. And it wasn't even the top unit that was doing the damage.
Yep.
Yeah. It seems like this Calgary team, too, is an identity. We talked about them in the post and before the season even started as kind of being this team of we're not sure where they're going to go this year, but it's a scrappy team. Very scrappy team. They make their way back into games. And it seems like they're just playing extremely well as an overall unit. They get a late goal against Pittsburgh, win into shootout. Could be one of those dark horse teams that you just don't want to face in the postseason early on. Like, I don't know. I kind of started to come around on this Calgary team.
I need to play the playoffs meme for you right now. I'm not sold on this team making the postseason at all.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, just give it a little bit more time here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, really you got their goaltending is very shaky, I would say, overall, like long term, right? Like, do you trust Wolf and Vladar for a whole season? I don't know if that's a reality, you know? Like it's possible, but it could be that situation once they start getting more of a workload and get like 20 games in, they start to break down. So, I mean, that's where you'd have to worry if you're thinking they're going to make a run.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, not many teams have looked great, though, to start the year. I mean, looking at some Stanley Cup contenders before the season. So it'll be interesting to see where we go. Getting into tonight's matchup, we have the Flyers taking on the Capitals. This is a back-to-back. They played last night. Washington won 4-1. Urson and Lindgren played last night. So it looks like we're going to get Thompson and Fedorov. Believe so.
Fedotov.
Right, Franco? Fedotov, yeah.
Fedotov.
This is the prime spot that we talk about continually on this show of teams playing back-to-back. If Team A wins, Team A would be Washington last night. You take Team B in this spot. The Flyers are a road dog in this one. But more so for a side, it seems like the total being at 6 with the backups in net tonight seems like going to be a direction that a lot of people are heading. But I'll start with you, Franco. What are you looking for if you are playing any sides or totals tonight in this matchup?
Well, first of all, the thing that worries me the most is just that the Flyers can't score right now, right? They have 1 goal in their last 2 games, both games at home too. You would think like playing a home game, you'd have a little bit extra juice, and that's not been the case. So I know Torts has been really shuffling the lines we talked about before the show. Like there's no consistency. So like these guys aren't gelling together, which is a problem, especially when you're not scoring. It's like, where's the consistency? And, you know, I made a joke the other day that they pulled out Forrester, who's got a good shot. Like I won't say he's like a pure goal scorer or anything like that, but he's one of the goal scorers on this team. They pulled him out for Nick Delorier, which is just, it's silly. You know my feelings about Nick Delorier, but yeah, as far as this game goes, I would have to lean Flyers money line. I really don't want to bet it though, man. Like it feels exactly like that Columbus situation though the other day where they're in the spot that you're supposed to bet them in, but like, are you really going to get across the finish line with it? Like, how are you going to back a team that scored 1 goal in the last 2 games? And on top of that, Fedotov has not been good at all. Minus 2.67 goals saved above expected, 7.5 goals against average. Not good at all. And this dude, like, he's 27. I mean, I know he's playing the KHL mostly, and you know, the argument was always that he needs to get used to the difference in the ice and stuff like that. But like, I watched the one game. This dude's 6'8", and he got beat over his shoulder. And I'm laughing the whole time watching the replay over and over again. I'm like, how, as a 6'8" goaltender, can you get beat over the shoulder? Like, it's one thing to get beat down low or something like that, or you're not fast side to side or whatever, but like, I don't get it. So I don't know what his issue is, because he was decent across in the KHL, but man, has not looked good. So it's really hard to back Philly at all, with, like, knowing that this guy's in net. Like, is he going to make a clutch save? Like, it's not been the case. He's let up backbreaking goals in the games that he's played so far, and it's like, you know how that is when your team gives up a goal like that. Just it's debilitating, and any momentum you had is just gone when that happens. So we know Washington's been able to score too. So it's not like, they're playing a weaker opponent that maybe you can get by. So I'm a little bit wary. I kind of lean the over as well, but I'm just really hesitant picking a side in general.
Yeah. Besky, did you have a side or total in this matchup?
Nah, I'm not touching it.
I
think I do lean Capitals, though. The Caps have looked good already at the start of the season. I mean, they're a strong, big defensive team, and I think Flyers are the team that's having kind of that identity crisis too. And I think last season they overperformed. I had that in my head pretty much the entirety of that season. I think this is more where they actually are at as a full defensive, or like a full team as far as the forwards, blue line goaltending goes. A lot of young kids on it. They were kind of rebuilding, then just kind of had that surprise season last year, and I think they're showing their true colors already. And this is kind of how I view Calgary. I think Calgary is this year's Philadelphia, and then next year they could probably come back down to earth quite a bit.
Come close to making the playoffs and miss out in the last 2 weeks.
Yep, and then miss out on.
Sorry to bring that up, Franco, but that's what happened.
It's okay if they just stink this year and get a nice high pick, it'll all be forgiven.
Yeah. Yep. All right, looking at the player props here, a lot of lopsided picks. When you're looking at trends, whether historical or recent, leaning towards the Capitals side. Betsky, I'm going to throw this one back to you. Did you have any player props circled in tonight's game?
I mean, it's really hard not to want to just go right back to Strome on the point. I know it's more of a parlay piece, but he has great history against Philadelphia to begin with. He's just rolling right now. I mean, he's really kind of turning into a number one center, a la Joe Thornton as a big playmaker. I guess on the Philly side, you want to kind of turn to the big guns here, but I need to look at the lines. Mishkov's kind of interesting. I mean, you would think he has some desire to score against Ovi, right? So maybe this is like a game where you take a little bit of a long shot and go for his goal.
Yeah. I mean, his points, minus 150-ish. So that's another tough one too. Franco, did you have any looks in this one? I don't hate that Michkov point, but again, anything over that minus 150 range with a team that hasn't been scoring lately is always kind of a little bit worrisome on a back-to-back as well.
Yeah.
He's minus 130, so it's not minus 150. You can at least, that's not that bad. I do think he's going to have to be playing motivated. Again, I just worry about the lines, man. Like,
I'm looking at them right now. He's on a line with Lawton and Couturier at least, but
yeah, that's how it ended. I think it started with Couturier, Tippett, and Michkov. So then Tippett got pulled off that line. I know in practice he skated with like Paling as a center with Tippett. So I mean they've been
he's on the top line with Connect Me.
I mean, at least he's on the top power play, and it's funny they gave up 2 shorthanded goals in the first yesterday, which is just like ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind looking at Michkov props, maybe his shot prop, maybe his goal prop, just to get a little value. I think that's worth a look, because I would have to think after getting shut out, he's going to want to kind of try to put on a show against Ovi. So I'm going back to Chychrun, though. So I took his point yesterday. I had his shots circled as well. He had 4 shots yesterday. So his 3 shots yesterday, I think, was like plus 140, plus 150. It's down to plus 120-ish now today. So I'm going to get there with that. Plus 120 on his shots. And then his point prop is plus 145. So might probably split a unit between those two plays because I don't know what it is. Like I know when we discussed it before, he's like not playing on the top power play and all that stuff. Obviously that's Carlson's role, but he just gets there against Philly. I don't really know what it is or why, but yeah, I would be interested in that because I just feel you're getting good value at plus 120 and plus 150. It's just great value for a guy that loves playing against Philly.
Yeah, Chikrin's hit in each of his last 2 games for that over 2.5 shots on goal margin. His attempts have been great, 7 and 8. And then against Philly, he's hitting 5 of his last 6, which is kind of insane. Betsky, you brought up Dylan Strome point. His assist is at plus money tonight, which is hitting 5 of the last 6, 3 of the last 4 versus Philly, 3 of his last 4 in home as well. So that could be another alternate angle. I know you like to do that with Marner a lot with his assist. So maybe Strome's now getting to that territory where you're looking for value instead of just laying that number around minus 150 with the point, go into that plus money for the assist.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all, even though you do think he's got to be due pretty soon. He has 3 goals this season already. So I don't know. He's kind of in that area where he's not just a playmaker anymore, but I was just poking around. Ovi goal kind of looks nice. He only has 1 this season against a young goaltender. He's got good history against Philly, 6 of his last 12.
He's been shooting too. He's 6 attempts last night and then 10 before, 5 and 7.
Yeah. I don't know. I may dip into that well.
His shots on goal too. He's hitting what? 6 of his last 8 versus Philly.
Yeah.
So he's firing. I mean, it's
at minus 180, so it's not bettable at all. But
maybe take his shots with his goal to get better value on his goal.
Would just put his point,
or shots and point.
Shots and point.
That could work.
Sure, that's going to pay out pretty well. That'll at least get you to plus money.
Yeah, or even shots and Strome point.
Yeah.
It's all correlated. It just depends on how crazy you want to get with it. I don't mind any of those looks.
Yeah. I do like that Chikrin shots on goal a lot. Franco, I probably will be taking that tonight. John Carlson shots on goal as well. He's hit 9 of his last 12, 10 of his last 14 home games. So another guy that you're going to want to target. Any other looks in Philly, Washington? Lone game of the night. You really got to dig deep for some props.
No, I mean, this is a game where you put like 1 or 2 bets in and then just sit back and enjoy and move on to tomorrow.
Enjoy.
Have the game on in the background, after watching, 16 last night.
It's definitely easier. It's definitely easier to watch a game like this than last night. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, moving along to tomorrow, we have a 9-game slate, some pretty good matchups. But before we dive into that, I guys want to talk to you about DraftKings. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 using promo code THPN. And again, if you guys are going to any hockey games this season, be sure to check out Game Time. Free to download the app. You get $20 off your first purchase using promo code THPN. But be sure to check them out as well. All right, getting into the games for tomorrow. Let's start up at the top here. St. Louis at Toronto. Toronto minus 240 on the money line. Total set at 6. Feels like a bounce back game for the Leafs. But again, how much do we trust this team?
Oh, yeah. We were just pumping up Tampa for this exact same situation. So is one day off enough from that? Yeah, you know what? I am going to back Toronto. Screw it. I think they look really good this season. I mean, despite that Columbus loss, you got to chalk that up to them just not showing up against a team that's supposedly bad, but a team that's been playing pretty feisty at the beginning of the season. So they got caught with their pants down. It happens. I'm ready to move on from that. And yeah, I'm down to back Toronto here. This may be a nice draw spot, but the Blues last night were kind of in an interesting position where they may have been able to catch Winnipeg doing the exact same thing we're talking about here, and they kind of stayed with them for most of the game, but just couldn't hang. And Toronto arguably has just as much, if not more, firepower, especially up front, than the Jets. And I think if this turns into a race, I don't really believe the Blues can win. And I think we just saw the bad Toronto game of the week. So yeah, I think this is a nice bounce back spot. The problem here is, which line do you trust from Toronto? Is this going to be the Matthews Marner day, or is this going to be more of your Nylander and down type performance? And that's what I'm curious of what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, even if Toronto was hungover against the Blue Jackets, it should be out of their system by now. They let 2 points go. I mean, they should have beat Columbus. 2 points out the window now. Now it's kind of in that bounce back mode where they should beat St. Louis. They're heavily favored, and they kind of need those 2 points back. St. Louis is 26th in shots on goal against. So check out some of those Toronto players for shots tomorrow. I'm expecting them to come out firing. Franco, did you have any looks in this one?
Well, I think the perfect way to answer Betsy's question of which line do you trust is you just take Toronto's team total over 3.5. It's minus 130, which is a little juiced. Shop around me, you can get better, but I think Toronto can score 4 goals in this game. That way you don't have to take their money line, which is like minus 230. You don't have to take their puck line. You don't have to take in reg. Like, just take them to score, because you can imagine they're probably pretty pissed about that performance. And I would assume Berube is as well. So he's going to get them out there.
And then don't forget
that.
Yep. Berube revenge angle. Coach revenge. Get him, coach. Or we'll go the other way, where St. Louis wants to show them that they don't need him.
Could. Binnington's just standing on his head.
Binnington's trying to fight
flipping
him.
Off Berube.
Yeah, I was going to say that, or Binnington's throwing a stick at him. So
squirting him as he skates by and line brawl starts. That'd be something.
Yeah, it's one of the two with Binnington. It's never a easy go game with him. But yeah. All right, next game up.
Now,
we got
wait, real quick. After that real emotional moment with Kyrou last season, where he was blaming himself, I think it was shortly after Berube got let go and the coaching change didn't get him going. Is this a really prime spot for a big Kyrou game?
Is this like, this is for you, Dad? Like, I'm showing you that I'm capable of doing it. Like, is this yeah, like a Jordan Kyrou, like, scores a hat trick and gives the puck to Berube?
Maybe, yeah.
Kyrou goal, Kyrou first goal. Let's lock those in. What do you think? Get crazy.
I don't mind it. How's he been against Toronto? Not the best. He had 4 shots last night, though, on 6 attempts.
His shots probably, that's a good bet, too, because he's going to come out firing.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. Toronto has been good defensively this season. Shockingly.
They have.
So it all depends on his line. I mean, it'll be set at 2.5, but again, it's like, how much juice do you want to lay with Kyrou? I don't know if it's up yet, but yeah. All right, next game up, we got the Devils at the Red Wings. The Red Wings are the home dog in this one, plus 130. New Jersey minus 155 on the money line. The total set at 6.5. Franco, I'll start with you in this one. Any looks in New Jersey? Detroit feels like a bounce back spot for New Jersey.
Yeah.
I agree. Big time. I mean, at this point, it's just rinse and repeat, right? I mean, they got beat down by Tampa at home, Now they're heading to Detroit. I don't believe in this Detroit team. I don't know how the hell they shut out the Islanders with Alex Lyon, but yeah, they did it. So I don't think that's going to be the same case here. So yeah, I think give me the Devils. Look at minus 155 on the money line. So maybe do like in reg and puck line split, because this feels like if they're going to do it, they're going to put the boots to asses. So you might as well get a little bit of value. Puck lines plus 154. So that feels real nice. Prop wise, I would be looking at Meyer, 4 goals in 6 games versus them. I know he scored yesterday. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 as well. So that would probably be my like kind of value look there. As far as I feel like his goal prop is still pretty damn bettable right now.
If you are going to bet New Jersey, I'd do so now. They opened at -142 and it's then shot up to -155. And I expect that line to keep kind of going up. I wouldn't be shocked if that closes around -160, -165 tomorrow. So, Betsky, any looks for you in this one?
Yeah, I may be willing to dive right back into Dougie Hamilton's shots on goal. He's hit his 3.5 line in 3 straight. His attempts were not so hot last game, only 5, but he had 8 and 10 before that. Detroit's allowing the most shots to defensemen right now, and I think they're like in the top 3 for shots allowed, period. If you think Dougie's going to keep kind of hammering it away, I think this is a really good spot. The shots department for Jersey's been a little tough. It's kind of, I mean, Hughes hasn't really picked up unless he kind of went off last night. I have not checked that, but it kind of makes me want to lean into guys that I could just feel like are going to have the volume because of the ice time. And Hamilton's one of those guys, being that top defenseman, top offensive defenseman, and just kind of his role on the power play.
Yeah. So Detroit allows the 3rd most shots on goal to defensemen, the 1st most to the left wing department, and the 4th most to centers. So, but again, like you said before, New Jersey's a weird team to kind of pick your poison with the shots on goal market, because wherever you go, and there's probably 5 or 6 guys that you can look at, it feels like you pick one and the other guy decides that it's his night.
Yes, I know. And now that I'm looking at for it, is Hughes out? No. Okay. He's just not on props cash quite yet. I'm just searching by goals, and I'm sure not everything is out yet. So
Hamilton point, by the way, looks really good. He's got 3 points in his last 3 games, and he has 8 in 8 games, his last 8 against them. So 3 power play points in that span, and 3 goals as well. So that kind of adds the fuel to the fire with the shots.
It's one of the only games too listed at with the total listed at 6.5 tomorrow.
So they're expecting after a 1-0 game with Detroit that the doors are going to get blown off here.
A lot of 5.5s, a lot of 6s. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Next game up on the slate, we got Florida traveling to New York. New York -155. Florida +130. Total set at 5.5. Panthers look like shit.
Yeah. Are we going to keep this trend going? I mean, every single game so far has been this exact same narrative, and then there's another one on the slate that may have a similar narrative.
Say we could just end the show now and just be like, yeah, take every bounce back spot possible tomorrow. Yeah.
Take the good teams that played like crap yesterday to bounce back.
I'm not so sure I'm ready to trust Florida yet after that. I don't know if they get back Barkov and Kachuk. And I mean, that first game, they didn't look great. Kachuk obviously registered a point. Great call, Franco. But New York's looks so damn good.
Yeah. This is a big game for New York. You know, if they want to show that they can beat cup contending teams or the recent cup winners at home, this is your show your fans that you're ready for the playoffs game. Montreal was just the pre-gym meal.
Yeah. I mean, what? Florida bounced them from the postseason last year, right?
Yeah, right? In the conference finals?
Yes,
because New York looked like they were going to take it at the beginning of that series. I think they came out and rolled them the first game, maybe the first 2, or the first 2 of 3.
Timeout on the revenge angle. Flip the revenge angle.
Yep.
We're going to
New York, baby.
We're going to New York.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That makes sense. We just talk that one out.
I have a better look than all that, guys. Over 5.5. Over 5.5 has hit in 19 straight games between these two teams. 19.
Wait, what did you say?
Wow.
Over 5.5 has hit in 19 straight games. Last year we got a couple 6s, but yeah, that's where I'm looking. I know it's scary because of the goaltending matchup, but it has not mattered. Last year, I remember betting it because of that exact angle. I think we got 6 last year and pushed on one of the games, but it's gone over a bunch. So let's just hammer that.
That's not postseason included, is it?
No, but I'm not including postseason anyway. I mean, that's a whole different. Postseason's a whole different fucking game, man. I mean, like, think about it.
You're talking playoffs?
Yeah, we're talking playoffs.
That makes sense because I was looking at it and I was like, a lot of those games in the postseason went under last year. But looking back at it now, over 5.5. So you're saying hitting what 19 straight with these 2 teams?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, like last year we were getting 6s and 6.5s because the books knew. So 6.5 is a little more dicey as far as hitting. I think it still has a decent hit rate, but 6s or 5.5 hits 19 straight. So that's the bet I'm hammering for this game.
So that line right now on DraftKings is -125, kind of giving you some inclination that that's going to be bumped up to 6 come puck drop. So again, it's another line that you're going to want to grab now. It's Florida, New York over 5.5 -125.
2016 was the last time it went under. That was a 3-2 game.
Well, what goes up must come down, right?
Yeah, I mean, eventually it will fail. I'm just saying it's such a freaking trend. No, I know. And I get I don't really love trends like this because who gives a shit that the Rangers and Panthers went over in 2019? Like they're completely different teams at that point. Like God only knows what goalies were in net. But the fact of the matter is, it just seems like for whatever reason these two just create fireworks when they come together.
You said in 2019?
I said the last time they went under was 2016.
Oh,
I was just saying.
Okay,
I was saying in general, I hate this type of stat because I don't
it's irrelevant.
That, 2019's game that went over does not matter.
Derek Stepan was on the Rangers in 2016. You know, Derek Stepan.
Yeah, I mean, dude, just click a random game on StatMuse and see who the goal scorers were.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's some guys that are still there, but Frank Vertrana was still playing for the Panthers, so that was 1,000 years ago. Let's put it that way.
Before they shipped them off to Anaheim. Oh. All right. Next game up, Dallas traveling to Boston. Boston, even money, home dog. Dallas -120, over under set at 6 or 5.5. Excuse me. Dallas coming off a bad loss to Buffalo. Boston coming off a bad loss to Nashville. Who's bouncing back in this one?
Draw.
Wow, baby. There it is.
There you go. I like it.
I'd also be interested to see because last night, so Calgary and Pittsburgh drew. And again, it was kind of the similar case with the money lines. I think Calgary was -120, Pittsburgh was even. And it feels like when you start to see those pretty, whether it's -110, -110, even money, -120, those games are just naturally more inclined to go to a draw, to overtime. So I don't hate that look at all. Dallas, Boston draw. Franco, did you have any looks in this game?
I don't know, man. I was so let down by Dallas yesterday. And in general, I feel like this team should be way more offensively productive than they have been to start the year. I know they haven't been bad by any stretch, but it just doesn't seem like they're producing at the level we should be seeing with the depth they have offensively. So I don't know. I still don't believe in Boston. I know I backed them yesterday and they lost too. So I would look at probably running back the same type of guys like Robertson and Hintz if you're going that line. A little bit interested in Wyatt Johnson as well. He does have 3 goals in 4 games versus them, and we know he's a road dog. So we can get his point at minus, if you get his point -140, maybe. I know he's been a -150, -160, but maybe given the matchup, you might be able to get it in that bettable range. At least for me, I'm willing to a -140 on a guy like him on the road. So I think that's where I'd be
Hint's point.
Yeah, I would assume Hint's point will be bettable as well. That's what I was saying. I think I really only want to be involved with Dallas props. I think, even though Boston should probably bounce back as well.
Yeah, Betsky, 2 of the last 3 matchups between Boston and Dallas have ended in a draw. They've both gone to overtime.
Nice. Love that. I really like that then.
Yep.
That's perfect. I mean, considering we can't pick a side because of our angles that we've been playing.
I can't pick a total side either. I mean, this could be a 1-2 game or, 0-0 with a shootout win, or I don't know. Or it could, be 6-5. I really like the Wyatt angle, though. I think you're going to get some bias on Boston being a defensive team, but they've actually allowed quite a bit of shots, especially to wingers. I know Wyatt kind of bounces around where he actually lines up. Sometimes he's on the wing, sometimes he's at center. On the power play, he's definitely more on the wing. So yeah, it looks like he's centering the second line as of today and playing in on the half wall on the power play. So he should have some ample areas to get some shots going. Stankoven being on that top line, it keeps on producing. You keep on getting a ton of value there too. So that's one I'm going to kind of circle too if you like that top line to get going.
Do we trust Jason Robertson shots yet or no?
No.
Nope.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of all I had in this game. Should be an interesting game, but again, from the prop side, not really one that I love. So yeah, next game up, we got Carolina traveling to Calgary. Calgary plus 136 on the money line. Carolina minus 162. Total set at 6. Split both ways. Franco, any looks in this one?
I don't know. This is a weird one. I like what I've seen from Calgary, but this is going to be probably one of their toughest tests so far this season. I know Carolina has been all right so far, but I still think they have that, defensive mentality that makes it difficult. But I feel like Calgary at the same time, doesn't really care who they're going against. It seems like it's like they're playing with house money, right? So they can go in. I felt very good about them against Pittsburgh. I know that game got tighter than I would have liked it to have gotten, but you can't mess around like that against Carolina. So a little bit skeptical there. I'll probably keep going back to Ghost props. I mean, he has 4 points in 3 games. He has 3 goals, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's been kind of wild. So I mean, if that's, almost like sprinkle his goal and sprinkle his point. He hasn't been super productive against Calgary, but I feel like Ghost is a weird player, man. He's been bounced all around the last few years. It hasn't really found a home. So I don't mind his props, just given the value you're getting on it. On the Calgary side, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking
Anderson,
at the players and stuff like
Huberdeau, Kadri, points.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Huberdeau still 1 point or 1 assist away from the record, or did he get there last night? I don't know if he did. I forgot to check.
I don't believe so. I don't think
so. If he didn't get there, maybe we can look at that too. So, yeah. I don't know. He got one. He got one.
Checking right now.
What's the record?
Nope. He's too short of 500 career assists, I think.
Oh, cool.
No, so he had none last night.
I mean, maybe he gets 2. Maybe you sprinkle him for 2 points or 2 assists
against Carolina, though.
I know this is not the matchup. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of lean Calgary though, to be honest, because I think you're getting good value there. I think we're plus 140 or something. They're at home. They're, like I said, I feel like they're not afraid of who they're playing against. So that would be where I would go sideways, just a sprinkle. I don't feel super confident about it, but I think Ghost props is probably my favorite play in that game.
Yeah, Betsky, any looks for you?
The only one, I'll need to dig into it a little bit more, but Natchez has been pretty awesome these past 2 games for his shots on goal and point prop, and both are sitting at pretty decent value. I really, really like the fact that we got the Shevnikov Natchez line and they are sticking with it. It doesn't seem like they're shuffling. They're not going full Tortorella, Philadelphia with the lines this season, where last year it felt like we could never get consistent lines going for the Hurricanes. Well, I'm sorry. I say that, and now I see Shevnikov is on the top line with Owen Jarvis. So
there you go. We're doing it already.
cut that spiel out. Now I don't know. Maybe that is better for Natchez, but I remember when Shevnikov and Natchez were together 2 seasons ago, that was where they were both really becoming cash cows on the shots on goal and point props. This is an overloaded top line with Shev, Aho, and Jarvis, which means none of those points are going to probably be very bettable unless you're doing parlays. It does seem like Calgary knows how to get teams into shooting matches and is able to kind of block them from being able to play the way their systems want them to play, though. So I think this is pretty squarely a 3-2 type of game at the very least, if not going a little bit over that, which means this could be a nice spot for some point props up and down the lineups. But
another draw scenario?
No.
No.
Carolina looks good. Carolina is doing what they do, and if they get up by 2, they're not going to let Calgary do anything. Yeah. So Calgary needs to try to get out early, and if they want to be able to race.
Next game up, Colorado traveling to Utah.
I think we missed Minnesota, Tampa.
Oh, did we? Shit.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Minnesota, Tampa. Tampa Bay -148. Minnesota +124. Total set at 6. Juice the over at -125. Tampa Bay is rolling. Minnesota coming off a good win against Florida here. I don't know, Franco. Did you have anything in this one? Feels like a weird game.
So this feels like it should be like 2 hot teams that are feeling themselves to me.
Yeah.
Tampa
I was
talking
to Terry yesterday, though, and he said Minnesota has not trailed yet this season. They lost twice in OT, but they have not even trailed one time yet this season for even a second. I had to check. I was like, no way. And sure enough, yeah. So, I mean, I think we're the market's still kind of undervaluing Minnesota. I don't know that I necessarily believe in Minnesota right now, but they're playing with pretty good confidence. Obviously, they're getting good goaltending, which is very big, obviously. So I think the day off means that Gustafsson will be good to go again. I don't think they would make the shift there. So I think, honestly, I mean, I don't know. I hate going against Tampa at home because they're just typically better at home, but I don't know. I can't go against this team again. I've faded them twice now and got my butt whooped both times doing it. So not doing it. So if anything, I'm going Minnesota side here.
Wow. You're Tampa at home. That's usually an auto bet for you.
I know, but they might be smelling themselves after that win, right? They came and smoked Jersey. I don't know, man. I can't fade Minnesota right now with the way they're playing. Try it twice and fail.
Betsky, any looks for you in that one?
That's interesting. Yeah, I'll think about going with you on that side of things. Braden Point at home, shots on goal is always kind of where you want to be. I just kind of don't care. I will ride that pretty much any time he plays at home. He hits about 70%, so chances are you're gonna do all right. On top of that, I just took a look. He has good history against Minnesota, and I do know Minnesota has been leaky against centers in the past. They have also been undisciplined, which means more power play time for him. Joel Eriksson Ekman, 4+ shots on goal in 6 of the last 6 times he has played Tampa. He averages 4.5 shots on goal against them and 5.8 shot attempts against them. He is coming off a 1-shot performance against Florida, but had a 7-shot attempt, 5 shots on goal performance against Columbus 2 nights ago. He was suspiciously bumped from 2.5 to 3.5. I don't know. That may be one I got to go in, and you're probably going to get plus money on that.
He also has 4 goals in his last 6 games against them. So,
oh boy,
wow, that's another interesting look.
And then Kucherov, I just feel like
over 1.5
gold every game.
Yep. Yeah, especially at home. Hedman assist.
He has good numbers. Kucherov has great numbers against them too, so can't really fault you there. I mean, he's got 6 assists in his last 4 games, so that might not even be a bad look. I don't know that you can even bet his assist prop, but
did Utah trade Moser to Tampa?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the Sergachev trade.
Mosa looks good.
Yeah. He's not playing 27 minutes like Sergachev is, though.
That's true.
A little bit true. It's a little bit different. Another guy I want to point out on Minnesota side is Marco Rossi. I've been screaming it for like 5 years at this point. It feels like get Ryan Hartman off the freaking line with Kaprizov, and I think we finally did it, guys. They finally let somebody else play with them. It's incredible, and they're being productive because of it. So Rossi has 3 goals in his last 3 games. He has 1 goal and 2 against them, 2 points total in those 2 games versus Tampa. So if I can get Rossi point at even money or minus 110, whatever, I'm going to look there. Probably his goal as well. It's incredible what a good center can do when playing with Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Like Ryan Hartman's like a third-line center, man. I mean,
he turns into like a shots on goal darling though, like during like 1 or 2 weeks of the year. Like he'll go off and you'll just Ryan Hartman for bet him like 5 straight games and then he'll just disappear. But
I mean, in reality, this dude is not a first-line center. He should not be a first-line center on any NHL team in real life. Like this has just been a joke for way too long at this point.
Minnesota also gives up the most shots on goal to defensemen. So maybe look at Hedman.
Yeah. Has he been
Hasn't
shooting?
been great. Yeah. Tampa Bay gives up the 8th most shots on goal to right wingers. I didn't see much. Does? Yeah, Hedman said so in 6 games, 21 shots on goal, 42 attempts.
Oh, wait.
I'm not sure.
Hedman's been great lately.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's hitting 4 straight.
There you go. That might be a good idea.
Oh, and he's great against Minnesota, hitting in the 4 of 6.
I'll write that down since they'll be
Minnesota
trailing,
allows
right?
the most shots on goal to defensemen. Boom. Victor Hedman over 2.5 tomorrow.
Guys, they'll be trailing. They'll be trailing because Minnesota's never been trailing this whole year. So Tampa's going to be trailing.
True. This is going to be the game I go hard in, and it's going to be a 0-1 game with it's going to be
1 shots on goal, 6 attempts. Yeah.
Victor Hedman stat shots. Line. Yeah.
All right. Finally getting to Colorado, Utah. The home dog in this one, plus 114. Colorado won 3 straight against some not so quality appointment. But
except Gabby.
Betsky, start with you. It's your squad.
Well, yesterday was not fun. Got spanked 0-4, shutout by Ottawa, who a lot of the Utah players love playing against. You got to expect to bounce back as far as goal scoring goes on the Utah side, even though Colorado has had this team's number for a little bit. Actually, these 2 teams have kind of gone back and forth in the most recent years. After Arizona played Utah in that quote-unquote playoffs during the COVID year, in the bubble, they've just hated each other. I was at the Arizona Coyotes Colorado game last year where they were down 4-0, and the Coyotes came back and beat them in regulation. It was insane. And for whatever reason, somebody has said something to McCarr or McKinnon, and these teams just cannot stand each other. It seems like Colorado's figuring it out, though, and having Devontae's back has been huge for them. So this scares me on the sides. This may be one you just want to slam the over, though. I don't know if Vejmelka is going to be in net or not, or if he'll be Ingram. Ingram started last game, but was pulled after the first period. Vejmelka came in and played very well in the last 2 periods. He did not let in a goal. I would keep your eye on that. I don't think it matters, though. Ingram has won games allowing 4 goals before. Utah can score. Colorado can score. I think this is going to be maybe the highest scoring game of the night.
Speaking of goaltenders, keep an eye out on the Colorado side. I think that's kind of a bigger indication. Georgiev has not started the past 2 games. He's been pretty brutal to start the season. So if he kind of gets a redemption start here, I don't know if it necessarily changes against the Utah team that was just shut out in their last game. So that over at 6.5, minus 112 right now. Don't hate that at all. That's a really good look.
Yeah. And I'll need to dig into which players on both sides to kind of follow. I would like to say McKinnon shots would be a prime spot, but he's just hasn't been quite the same this year. Utah is allowing a ton of power plays against. So
Ross Colton power play point.
Colton shots, or Ross Colton power play point. I feel like Rantanen kind of wrecks this team too. And then on the Coyotes Utah side, I think they've really gotten it a little bit more from the depth and the bigger guys. But
Cap's going bold here. What's up, Cap?
Clayton Keller 3 points. What would the line be on that? Plus
300 is probably right.
No,
well, even 1.5 point maybe nice.
Say
that
plus
top line
425.
Hayton point will probably be something to look at.
So I mean, for me, guys, I would have to see the goaltender for Colorado. If Annanen's in, which I think Colorado might be realizing that that's what they're going to have to do this season. I mean, the difference between the two of them is just freaking ridiculous to start the season. Georgiev is minus 9.72 goals saved above expected. Annanen's sitting right around. Annanen's sitting right around even in 4 games played. So like, the difference is like very significant at this point. So, like Betsy said, I feel like Colorado's figuring it out right now, which is not good for for Utah. They won that game against Boston 2-1 in OT, but I mean, I feel like they've been kind of losing a little bit of zip in the offensive end here the last couple of games. Obviously, shut out last night, shut out against New Jersey a week ago or whatever it was. The only real game that they kind of exploded recently was against Anaheim, and we know Anaheim stinks, so it's not like you can feel good about that either. So I'm a little bit wary on Utah. I think I lean Colorado as a side. I would want Anaheim in net if I'm going to take it though, and if he is in net, I'll probably go puck line as well, just to split it up a little bit. But I think you're getting good value on Colorado here. It's just a bad spot for Utah. They're kind of in. I just feel like they're not playing well right now, and Colorado is figuring it out, which is it's a problem for any team, let alone a team that's kind of like gone cold a little bit. Prop wise, McKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar all look fantastic historically. McKinnon 15 points in the last 10, 14 points last 12 for Rantanen, 13 points last 12 for Makar. So pick your poison, parlay them for each a point, whatever you want to do. I mean, they should. I feel like this is set up for them to score a lot, but I do like that over if Georgiev's in net. So
if real quick,
look
towards Colorado's money line. If Georgiev starts, look towards that over.
Yeah, and real quickly, last 10 games for Colorado and Utah, Arizona. 4-3 Colorado, 4-5 Arizona, 4-1 Colorado, 3-4 Coyotes, Arizona won, 4-3 Colorado, 3-1 Colorado, 3-2, 3-6, 1-2, and 2-3. So in the more recent years where the Arizona-Utah team has kind of started getting some of those bigger players to start turning the corner, these games have gone over.
You just give out your phone number?
Yes.
Also, Colorado team total over 3.5 is plus 100. So, I mean, you just listed out all those numbers, and even in games where Colorado lost, they put up 4 goals in a couple of them. So, 4 goals for Colorado feels pretty damn nice.
Yeah.
But again, if you just need the 3-3 and you're hitting that over too, if Georgiev does start, so
and plus money.
Yes. All right. Second last game of the night, we got Winnipeg traveling to Seattle. Winnipeg, the road favorite, minus 130. Seattle plus 110. Total set at 5.5. Juice the over at minus 120. Winnipeg still undefeated this season. Traveling to Seattle, minus 130. Feels like the number's a little low.
Man. This is a trap and a half, man. If this is not a trap,
that's what I'm saying.
Doesn't that seem like a long travel day for Winnipeg?
From where? St. Louis?
St. Louis.
Yeah,
St. Louis to Seattle? That's got to be 6.
But they probably...
It's got to be like 4 hours. It's like 3 for me.
Yeah.
2.5.
They flew in after the game, so they were there today.
2 time zone difference, so they're 2 hours behind.
They get a day off.
They got in late. Yeah, but
Cap's right. Everyone thought it was kind of a trap game versus the Blues.
Yep.
We saw how that turned out. Yeah, I mean, this Winnipeg team has looked great. Seattle's was on a 3-game win streak until they lost to Colorado. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is one I'm probably not having any sides or totals on by any means. If a player prop jumps out, I'll take advantage of it. But again, in a 9-game slate, I'm not forcing any bets in this one, especially just given the uncertainty. And I think that money line only being minus 130 towards Winnipeg is kind of telling you something here of could be a weird one. Another draw.
No.
No, I don't know. This feels like a draw.
No, I don't trust Seattle's goaltending enough to hold if it gets to that point.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I think if this is a 2-2 game and there's 10 minutes left, I think Winnipeg can find a way to make it to win it.
Yes. So Decord's going to get the nod tomorrow because they're doing kind of a every other night situation. Decord's been pretty good. Allowed 1 versus Calgary, 3 versus Nashville. Grubauer's been the worst of the 2. So, yeah.
Huh.
I will say, too, like, whenever Seattle's missing Vince Dunn, they're not as good. I know they brought in Montour, and that helps a little bit. But last year, every game when they didn't have him, they just weren't as productive offensively. So it hurts that he's going to be missing a significant amount of time. So I'm off this game. I don't want to be involved with it, but yeah.
Montour shots, though?
Maybe. But Winnipeg's like solid defensively. It's like, I don't know what the numbers are. I don't have them in front of me, but it just feels like a stay away spot, just the way it's reading it. But Morrissey has 7 assists or 6 assists in 6 games versus Seattle. So, 7 assists in 9 games. My mistake. Reading the wrong thing, but that might be one of the only angles I go. But again, like if this is a 2-1 game, you're going to be sweating that because somehow he won't be involved.
Yep, I've been there.
It feels like
I've been there
under.
With him like 1,000 times. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's listed at 5.5 for a reason. You got the 2 number ones going to into Decord and Hellebuck, so could be a good old fashioned showdown. All right, last game of the night. Sharks traveling to LA. LA minus 325.
Sharks, baby.
They got to win sometime. But LA just got their ass.
No, they don't.
The Sharks are plus 260. The total set at 6. Juice to the under minus 122.
I don't know. That's tempting. Plus 260 for a money line. LA getting home after this long road trip. I wish they won last night.
I know.
Party
Sharks
in
puck
Vegas.
line is minus 102.
They were never going to win that game.
Yeah.
Sharks puck line minus 102.
Wow.
They just
I
don't
can't.
look
I
good, man.
I know.
Yeah, you can't. It's another one of those games too. It's 10:40 East Coast time. These late games, yeah, I have no picks.
So you're not going to stay up to watch Sharks in LA?
No.
Wow.
No, I'm not. When Celebrini was back, and I stayed up to watch him originally, and then this one, no, I'm going to pass on this one.
It really sucks they lost Celebrini.
I'll be a fraud. Yeah, I'm not.
That was all the momentum, and it's just like, oh, just kidding.
Yeah, I saw Vegas and LA last night. I'm good. Betsky, any plays in this one?
Benched. Nah, I mean, I'll look into some of the LA props, maybe Fiala or something.
Fiala has 10 assists in 10 games
maybe
versus them.
Wow.
So,
but
that's probably good.
Yeah.
All right. Any other closing thoughts? Do we want to recap our bets for tonight's slate quickly?
Yeah, I really think this could be a Ovi night. So Ovi's got a great history against Philly. I took it while we were talking about some of these other games. His goal and 3 shots was plus 175, which kind of felt like decent value to just kind of give it a go. Give it a little 1-2 go.
Yep. Franco, who did you have for tonight?
I had Chikrin shots and Chikrin point. I'm going to split a unit between those two. They're both plus money. I think it was like plus 120, plus 150-ish, each of them. And I'm probably gonna sprinkle either Michkov, maybe sprinkle Michkov goal and sprinkle his shots as well. I think he's gonna play a big game tonight just because of the Russian factor here against Ovi. So, and I think we all kind of like Strome in general, like Strome point, whatever as a piece.
One factoid about Mishkov though, when they were getting all those team interviews before the draft, when he was talking to teams that were in positions to potentially draft him, apparently he said he did not want to go to the Capitals, which shocked them because of Ovechkin. And that is why the Capitals didn't move up to get him.
Yeah, I heard that he didn't want to be in a shadow, essentially, right? He wanted to make his own way. So it makes sense. Gotta respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mangiapane has also been pretty good against Philly. He's hit in each of his last 5 games against them. And then as of recent history, he's hit in 3 of his last 4 overall. So, but he is on that third line, which does give you some sort of hesitancy with that. The Chychrun shots on goal, probably my favorite look tonight that Franco pointed out. Strome assists, Strome point. Yeah, and that over too. I do like that over at 6. So those are probably my 2 bets tonight. All right. Anything else to add before we wrap up here?
No, I'm ready for a smaller slate. That slate tomorrow looks a lot nicer than it did yesterday.
So. Sure does.
Very true. All right. Before we sign off here, be sure to check out our 2 sponsors. You can use code THPN at Game Time for $20 off your first purchase. If you're going to any hockey games, be sure to check them out. And DraftKings, same promo code THPN, $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. I'm Gator Betting. This is Franco the Banker and Gretzky Betskis. We appreciate everyone for listening, and we will talk to you guys soon.